definitely getting fired for this if they haven't already.
So
if you didn't see, New Era came out with these new MLB hats, and it has the team's one-letter logo on top of the team's name, right? Well, on the Texas Rangers ones, the T is covering the X in Texas to make it say Tetas instead of Texas, right?
Hey,
and apparently
Segovia, back with another video. Hope everyone out there is having a good day, y'all. We're back with another hour banger for you guys, for the Cave fam. Hope you guys enjoyed. Before we get into it, y'all, hit that thumbs up, y'all. Let's get to 2,000 likes in this video. We need Segovia right now. 70% of the subscribers are watching the video and only 30% are non-subscribed. We need to get that flipped upside down, y'all. We need to get back in that algorithm. So be sure to hit that like button, y'all. Let's get back in the algorithm. Let's get the Cave fam. Let's keep growing, y'all. But anyways, y'all, we got a good one coming up. Remember, these are for entertainment purposes only. Don't believe everything you see in these videos, y'all. I'm here to entertain the people, and that's all I'm doing, y'all. So with that being said, enough with the chit chat. Let's go and get into the reaction. Enjoy the show.
Okay, so we live in Utah, and I love it here. But we moved here about 8 months ago from Vegas, and it's been amazing. However, my husband and my son, he's 12, he's almost 13, they have noticed that there has been a weird little gnome. I'm gonna sound freaking crazy for saying this. There's a weird little gnome in our backyard that just apparently runs back and forth and up the things, and I'm like, I have not seen this, and it is weird. So we've done some research, and apparently this is not new. I call it a gnome. I don't really know what it's called. It's like a little person, like a little, like 2 feet maybe. And they've seen it like a few times. I'm not, I guess, apparently in tune to see it, so I haven't seen it. But my husband said, like, oh, they like little shiny things, and they like soccer balls and little basketballs and stuff like that. And I'm like, cool. So we have decided to sounds so stupid. We have decided to put out like some pennies, like little shiny pennies for them, and like a tiny little basketball to see if they'll move it or if they'll like love it. And we shall see. I will show you. Okay, so there's our basketball. Has not moved since I put it out there. Here's our shiny little pennies, which are still there, but obviously it's rained for the past few days, so maybe little man hasn't come out. I don't know. I will keep you updated when he decides, he, she, whatever, they decide to come out and play. But my husband said that he saw it the first time when he was out here barbecuing. He saw it running up the wall of our neighbors. And then my son saw it just like right out here. And I'm like, what is going on? What dimension did we fall into that this is an actual thing? I don't know. Tell me what you think.
Do you guys hear about the secretive plane, the Boeing X-37B?
A secretive plane?
Very classified.
Okay.
This plane is nuts. It's this plane that is very small, unmanned, but it goes into outer orbit on the Earth.
Oh my gosh.
It was a NASA thing that they were doing with Boeing, but the project was taken over by the U.S. Air Force.
Yeah.
And everything got classified since then. Very little known about it. We know what it looks like, and we know that it goes into outer orbit. They released one of the pictures it took. So it's crazy far.
Yeah, it's not like just above the surface.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The conspiracy is this is a terrifying weapon called the rods of God. It's so scary. It's basically a giant metal rod that you would put in space that is solid steel, a foot in diameter, over 20 feet long. They would shoot it from space undetected from all radars, but have the same impact as a small nuclear bomb.
Oh my
Good.
gosh.
Just from kinetic energy.
And when was this created?
They're saying it hasn't been created,
Got
but
it.
speculation is that this thing could potentially be housing these
Yeah.
rods of God.
So big, and then they told me I had to like kind of sacrifice something. They said you're gonna have to pay it back because he just put this information out there. This is gonna put people in the wrong mindset of what we're trying to do in society. So they told me that if I don't do these list of things, then they are going to hurt my family or hurt, people that I really care about. And they told me to go to this office. It was on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. And then when I went in, I asked them over the phone, what are they gonna have me do? They said they couldn't tell me. And then when I went into the office, they sat me down and it was like an all white room, and they opened one of the doors and it had a Gucci suit, a Gucci bodysuit. And I said, oh no, please don't tell me that is what I think it is. They said, yeah, it's exactly what you think it is, pal. And I said, no, please no, not the Gucci suit. They said, it's the Gucci suit. This is the only way that you can repay for what you've done. And I said, not the Gucci suit, please. And they said, it's the Gucci suit.
A 3-ton bomb was just dropped. They're saying allegedly it was by the bear country. Like, what in the world did I even wake up to today? We're gonna have to do another episode of Happenings to show you what's happening around the world right now. Come right back. So apparently, allegedly, we have Canada threatening to turn the lights off in the United States. I, for one, did not know that we were using Canada's electricity to light some of the United States.
As the Ontario Premier says, the next step is to cut off electricity to the U.S.
And the president put out a statement after seeing those comments and said that it would be there would be grave consequences imposed on Canada if they think about shutting.
He said if they even think about it, but obviously they're already thinking about it. This is besides the 50% tariff going on, I believe, metals and different things like that from Canada. Teslas all over the country are still being blown up, vandalized, Molotov cocktails, all sorts of things. People started putting different emblems on their Tesla to pretend like they were a different car. So this massive bomb was dropped, right? Then immediately the EU chief comes out and says, we need like crazy defense right now. Now the bomb was dropped in the bear country, but supposedly on a yellow and blue area. They've been calling for a ceasefire, but I'm not sure if it's going to work because the blue and yellow have been being dominated by the bear country in the last few days. I can't show you the videos though.
So why?
Like, I remember when Teslas, because my friend had a Tesla and she's like, the drivers are so aggressive towards me now because I have a Tesla. Like, people used to think, you damn liberals in California, all you guys got Teslas. Like, I'm gonna cut you off in my lifted Ford, you know what I mean? And I've driven it, and we drove to Sedona one day. Hope Mama Bear ain't watching this. And, flipped off, right? Because I'm in a Tesla. So now the tides have changed. Now the left, I'm guessing that's who it is, are blowing up Teslas, and they took it to a new level. Back then, when the right was doing it, we were getting cut off, flipped off, whatever, do what you got to do, riding our butts. Now the left took it to another level. They're blowing them things up. They're making us put different emblems on the Tesla. I'm a Prius guy though, y'all know that.
That the Chinese spacewalk is the only spacewalk where they left their fisheye lens back on Earth. I mean, you can watch all of the spacewalks from the Russian agencies, from the European ones, from NASA, and it's a big spinning potato. But then when you watch the Chinese spacewalk, it's a mysteriously flat plane. Now, how could this possibly be? Are the flat earthers onto something? And have you thought about this? Not a single image or video of a rocket ship in outer space is not CGI. That's right. Yeah, we have real footage of rockets shooting up into the atmosphere, but they always follow an arched trajectory and then go back down. And yeah, we have real videos of rockets, kind of high up, but never in space. We don't have any real videos of rockets in space. Apparently we've been to Mars a million times, but we don't have any high-def footage. That's just something to think about. All of these images are different. How is that possible? It's the same planet. Anyways, this video was for entertainment purposes only.
Time slips, mysterious events that transport people across decades or centuries, have been reported by thousands of people. Some last seconds, others stretch for hours. There's often a sense of heaviness, a strange feeling that something isn't right, then the world shifts. You're still in the same place, but the surroundings are different. Many experiences involve multiple interactions with people and objects from another time. One of the most famous time slips happened in 1901. Charlotte Moberly and Eleanor Jourdain, two Oxford academics, were touring the Palace of Versailles in France. They broke off from the tour to find the Petit Trianon, Marie Antoinette's private getaway. As they walked, an eerie stillness surrounded them. No sound, no breeze. The world seemed flat and hazy like a faded photograph. And suddenly, they were lost. The walking paths were different. They heard voices and followed them, hoping to find someone who can give them directions. They found two men dressed as 18th century noblemen with long gray coats and tri-cornered hats. The men politely gave them directions, speaking in archaic French that was hard to understand.
Paranormal Activity, the first one. Dude, that movie was terrifying because the way they advertised it as if it was real. Yeah. When the movie starts, it pops up and says all footage is courtesy of the San Diego Police Department. Like, looks super official. And like, so that's the only reason why that movie was scary. Yeah. So like, I was very confused when they made like 8 more. It's like, you know, it's like the game's up. You know, I don't...
Elon Musk has just had the worst weekend ever. Tesla stock has been plummeting, clocking in their 7th worst day in their 15 years trading history. Donald Trump blamed the radical left lunatics boycotting the firm and promised that he will buy a brand new Tesla to help their stock prices. There was a whole wave of attacks carried out at multiple Tesla dealerships, with one individual arrested carrying explosives at a dealership in Colorado. They tried to set fire to the building and were only arrested on their 5th separate attempt. Teslas have been attacked and vandalized in the streets and at charging stations, and just last night, a number of Cybertrucks were torched in Seattle. And then, at the same time as all of this, another one of Elon's companies, X, suffered multiple outages. Elon later revealed that these outages were caused by a massive cyber attack to try and bring down the X system, with the attack apparently having IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area. And this is all just days after he appeared on Joe Rogan saying that he has to be careful to not push too hard with his work at Doge, otherwise...
And this is really going to get me assassinated. I actually have to be careful that I don't push too hard on the corruption stuff, because it's going to get me killed.
One of the individuals who gathered this weekend to protest against Doge said,
I'm hoping that if he feels enough pain from his companies having trouble, he'll leave.
Tesla car sales in Europe are down 45% in January compared to the same month in 2024, 76% down in Germany, 49% down in China, and they also recorded declining sales in America and Australia. However, despite all of this, if you zoom out, Tesla share prices are still at roughly the same place they were just before the election. But the question is, will the boycotts and attacks truly hurt Elon's companies, or will they be fine?
President Kennedy was because he was going to release information on this. It's a burn document that was found, I want to say like 6 or 7 years ago, and it talked about buildings being on the dark side of the moon. He was in the Navy. He had a top security clearance. He was going to be handling video and film that came back from combat missions. And he goes, he got brought into a room one day. He said, the guy said, stay here, wait right here, I'll be right back. And he goes, so I'm standing in this dark room where they're developing the film, and the guy says, hey man, you want to see something really cool? Come over here. So he's like, oh, okay. So he goes, I go over there and check it out. And he starts showing me buildings on the dark side of the moon. And he said to me, these aren't ours. 40 different creatures that were coming here, 40 different aliens or 40 different terrestrials, ETs that were coming here. One of the former prime ministers of England said the US has been dealing with a group called the Tall Whites for like the last 15 or 20 years. The Tall Whites were a group of very Nordic looking extraterrestrials, very tall, light hair, just very, very big. There was some talk that in the early 30s that there was a guy, his name was Thor, and he was a tall white, and he was working within the Senate and Congress. So, you know, UFOs were as real as planes that fly over your house. I mean, he said, there's no denying it, they're there. We know they're there.
You know, there's a crazy conspiracy theory connected to The Shining and the moon landing.
Yeah, I heard about the moon landing.
Yeah, it's all about the number on the doors, exact same amount of thousands of miles, 237. And it's 237,000 miles away. The little kid did have an Apollo 11 sweatshirt.
Yeah, that's true. He did have an Apollo 11.
I mean, that's pretty on the nose. You know, and he's the guy that the conspiracy theorists, when they get the most crazy, when they really want to dive into who did it, they think it was all Kubrick. The Kubrick literally filmed the fake moon landing, uploaded it to the American TV satellites.
If anyone could do it, it'd be him. He'd be the guy I would get to do it.
Can you imagine if that was really what happened?
I've heard all
these years.
I remember hearing all the fucking conspiracy theorists about the Illuminati killing him because he made yeah.
Well, they were worried he was going to open his fucking mouth.
Well, he made
tell
the
about the
moon.
moon landing. That too. That was his last one. They're like, enough. This guy's getting too close.
Because I think he died like a week after that movie.
Of course he did.
When I was in
Like, that's how crazy is that, y'all? Like, that was at the time. Like, it's hard for us. I don't know if there's some CaveFam out there that, were alive at that time, young, but that was the greatest leap for mankind. That was the moon landing was, I can't speak for the world, but from what I hear, the greatest thing in American history ever. The life on planet Earth, according to what we were told, right? This is the greatest accomplishment for mankind, stepping on that moon. And they faked it, right? And they put it in our face in the movies. And it's coming out now that it was all a fake. Like, that was, like, think about it. That was the greatest accomplishment for mankind. That's what the people felt at that time. Like, this is the greatest, and it was a lie. So what else are they lying about? Right? That's what we're getting into in these clips, y'all. This is what we bring, with the CaveFam. Yeah, a lot of it's entertainment purposes only, but a lot of it's facts too.
base and I was going through the hallways, I could feel, so it was like these like rounded cement hallways, like so deep underground, all cement, and I could feel like the cool dampness of the air, which I've never experienced, like actually having a visceral experience. But man, what they're doing in that base, essentially what I saw was people basically strapped down to beds in rooms, and what it looked like, they were really all deformed, and it looked like they were doing experimentation to make some sort of like super soldier.
Whoa.
Like that was basically the vibe, but the experimentation was more so genetic experimentation, not necessarily with all on planet genetics, if that makes sense. So they were using like other forms of extraterrestrial genetics to try and create sort of this human hybrid super soldier. And once again, it was just a lot of just low energy, torturous sort of vibes.
Guys, this is insane. So Ghost Adventures, this is a TMZ exclusive, just about 40 minutes ago. Ghost Adventures airing Goodwin, cops say wife tried to hire a hitman to have him unalived. The article states that the wife of Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin got busted in a unalive for hire plot, and cops say she tried to pay a hitman to knock off her husband. Victoria Goodwin was arrested last week and booked on 2 charges, solicitation to commit unaliving and conspiracy to commit unaliving, after police say she hatched a plan to kill Aaron while he was filming the show with Zach Bagans. Cops say Victoria was messaging an inmate in Florida prison about getting out of her marriage to Aaron when she asked, "Am I a bad person because I choose to end his existence and not divorce? Why don't you just divorce him?" Police say Victoria provided info about Aaron's location and filming times in California while he was filming for Ghost Adventures. Cops say Aaron's wife set aside $11,000 to pay the alleged hitman, and they say the inmate she was communicating with messaged a guy about the alleged plot. "He's asleep right now in the hotel room. I need to know what's going on. Can I get an update on when it's done?" Now, this allegedly happened back in October, and Aaron is still very much alive, thank goodness. Though it's unclear what went down with the alleged hitman, but cops claimed there was specific messages and about $2,500 upfront payment. And police say they found out about this because the correctional officers found and seized the inmate's contraband phone in the Florida prison. Police say Victoria denied wanting Aaron to be unalived. She says that she was daydreaming and fantasizing about being without her husband. Cops say she also told them she didn't remember sending the messages and doesn't want her husband unalived. When confronted about the messages related to sending the guy money, police say Victoria claims she thought the money was for cell phones and mentioned that she and Aaron were just going through marital problems. Now, Aaron and Victoria, they married in August of 2022 at the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland, and they tell TMZ, he thought that he was in a happy marriage, but he was blindsided and devastated at this turn of events. And when TMZ asked Zach Bagans what his thoughts were, he said it's an emotional time for Aaron, and he's trying to give him all the love and support. And as of right now, Victoria is being held on a $100,000 bail and appears she is still currently in police custody. This is insane to me because Aaron just seems like such a really nice person, and we never really hear anything crazy about him in the paranormal field. So my thoughts and prayers to everyone involved. This is really sad.
Goddamn.
Imagine, like, you think everything's going great, there's no differences in how it's been or whatever, but little do you know, you just never know, y'all. You never know. You never know. You know what I mean? It's just crazy that he thinks it's going all good and gravy, everything's good, happy, laughing, and back of her mind is
Entire generation pumping gas, waiting tables, slaves with white collars. Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need. The middle children of history, man. No purpose, place. We have no Great War, no Great Depression. Our Great War is a spiritual war. Our Great Depression is our lives. We've all been raised on television to believe that one day we'd all be millionaires and movie gods and rock stars, but we won't. We're slowly learning that fact. Very, very pissed off.
They sedated you.
Yes.
Yeah. What was the thought process behind it when you talked to a doctor about this? What did they tell you was wrong with you?
They told me I was bipolar. And I remember going on TMZ and saying, slavery is a choice. And they medicated me for saying that, for having that opinion and saying it out loud. But as I put those contracts up, I'm saying, this is a choice. As
you didn't mean people being abducted and brought into slavery and put into chains was a choice. What you were talking about is people making decisions that would enslave them financially and enslave their life.
Yeah.
But it was taken out of context and it was taken in the least charitable way, and they decided to try to say, look at crazy Kanye, look at this shit he's saying.
I'm the most feared man.
like that's how strong the media is, y'all. Still to this day, they can make anybody out to look and have the whole world turn on them, y'all. That's how the media is. That's how strong and how much power they still have. They're losing it slowly but surely. But there's a lot of people still asleep out there.
They don't like me in Hollywood.
Why do they not like you?
I don't wear dresses. I don't do that gay stuff on TV. They had to get some other black person to do that stuff. I'm talking, that's gunning. But they all confess they love the Lord. But you cannot compromise yourself if you love the Lord. So I play tough guys, but young kids want to be soldiers. Young kids don't want to follow a guy that wear a dress. You know what I'm talking about.
Probably gonna get copyrighted, but
I'm Amalia. Sister, remember the one that kept smoking in the bathroom?
Sister.
Yes, Amalia, yes.
Are you okay?
David, could I see you for a second?
No.
Yes.
I hope you're not holding my smoking against me, sister. I don't smoke anymore.
No, Amalia. It's just a spiritual matter. We'll be right back.
Crazy.
It was wild that I didn't know how close my own wife was to the Clintons.
That you were married to her?
And I was married to her.
How close was she to the Clintons?
I mean, cell phone away, or hey, tell Ye to say this away, or hey, go out and use your platform to push the vaccination away.
What in the world is going on in Western Australia? You have to see this. In the Aboriginal community of Jigalong in Western Australia, someone captured this footage. The person who submitted this to me said that it was actually demons coming up out of the ground. I'm not completely sure. Last week I shared a video of what many of you believe to be La Llorona or some kind of witch. I need your help. Watch this entire video. It's not that long. I've slowed down a section for it, and I really want you to pay attention to this road. There's something completely demonic, terrifying coming up out of the ground. Watch this. Let me know in the comments, what do you think this is?
Can you guys see it? Kids out ghost hunting, y'all. The good old days.
LSD did not just escape the lab. I suspect they were like, quick, turn all these kids into crazy hippies. Like, try this out, try this out, try this out.
Really?
Yeah, so
Why do you
so
think
check this
that?
out. Have you read Strange Scenes Inside Laurel Canyon?
I started to read it. I have not finished
It's
it.
so I mean, even just
But
the
it's
first chapter, right?
nuts.
So if you take that book's premise, it's basically that before the hippie movement, there was a very powerful organized anti-war movement led by a bunch of Quakers, a bunch of black activists, a bunch of, like, my dad was one of them. And it was not this hippie fringe thing. It was a very powerful anti-Vietnam protest. And the moment that LSD gets introduced, it becomes all peace and love. And he points out in that book how all of these people, like Frank Zappa, like lead members of the Doors, people organizing the Monterey Pop Festival, over and over and over, like he probably has 2 to 3 dozen examples specifically he goes deep into. They all just happen to move from wherever they are all over the world into this area in LA that is not a hotbed for music, and they all just start making music about peace and love and doing LSD. And all of them have parents that are from special forces, intelligence operations, Pentagon. Like some of the musicians themselves have backgrounds that look exactly like CIA operatives that were doing like revolutions in Cuba and
Like
overseas.
who in specific?
Like the lead singer of the Doors, Jim Morrison, for
Yeah.
example. Frank Zappa. So Frank Zappa's one where his dad and his mom were both. Frank Zappa's dad worked at the base that was like the chemical weapons, like where they did their chemical weapons research. His dad was a chemical weapons specialist with like top secret clearances, which is basically like when you read about what his dad was, it sounds a lot like what MK Ultra would be. It sounds a lot like what you would like drug experiments. And
chemical weapons is drug experiments.
Well, chemical is the wrong word. Psychological operations. But it's right there, like it's on his Wikipedia page. It's not hard to find these things. What that guy did, that I forget who wrote the book, but what he did was not like find uncovered evidence that had never been uncovered. He just looked at all these different people whose histories were very public, but he put it all together and realized like that's a lot of people that all moved to this one place and all started producing music that was like all within this one thing. Like Jim Morrison, his dad was the lead commander of the boat that was in the Gulf of Tonkin that started the Vietnam War. That's like kind of a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
And you could definitely make the explanation that kids often rebel against their parents, right? Kids often step out of line and are like fuck the old way.
Right.
But a lot of them were ex-military, like directly ex-suits and ex-CIA.
There's whispers.
So it's like this strong, positive protest that people are getting behind. Like they're losing control, y'all. We're losing control. We can't just send in some people in there and start a riot and break it up, right? We're losing control of this. We need to think, what are we going to do? We're going to introduce LSD. We're going to blow these big bands up that till this day are one of a kind, the media, the algorithm, and we're going to promote this LSD and have all these people that are protesting copy what we see, right? Because we still do that, right? We copy our actors, copy our musicians. Not everybody, but you know, they have a big influence on people, right? That's why they're controlled and told what to say, because their influence is so big. LSD, we're going to start doing protests that was making a lot of ground, got turned to peace and love, broke it up. Mission accomplished. Crazy, y'all.
That all these guys want to take your off.
Whoa, what?
As she was pulled into the frenzy, the camera recorded her shout.
Stop! I thought I was gonna die. They were trying to chunks of my scalp. I remember looking up and seeing them taking pictures with their cell phones.
I see some crazy thing about a news reporter in Egypt.
Yeah.
Everything was going good when she was on camera, but as soon as the lights went off, plot twist, fam. Her name is Laura Logan. Her whole career did like news reports on like the battlefield and stuff like that. Very dangerous. Any other news reporter would have probably lost their life, right?
Yeah.
But one day she was in Egypt. I think there was a celebration going on because the president just resigned, right? So everyone in the back, male-dominated crowd, and there's a pretty blonde woman doing the news. Everybody's celebrating, being polite with her. All you see is the lights go off, and the tour guide that was with her, yo, Laura, we have to go right away. There's whispers saying that all these guys want to take your off.
Whoa, what?
Cameras went off.
Yeah.
Since it's like 2 versus 100, fam, Laura gets pulled into the middle of that crowd, and they...
What in the world?
Yeah.
What
Tunnels we were talking about.
in the world?
The heck is this? Costa Rica. Tell me that ain't creepy.
Ellen's rough.
That's a
Ellen is
rough
like
one.
an old, but it's a rough one now. It's a rough one now because she was running Abu Ghraib in the back of her show. That's a rough one. She's out there dancing with Kristen Bell, and in the back, there's people that are getting up on the rack like this.
It's so weird when you see like a lot of people saying that someone who seems so nice is not nice at all.
She doesn't seem nice, but that people have a very poor judge of character. She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced. People that are like that all the time, she doesn't seem nice. It's very forced. And whatever, you're allowed to be a bitch, right? You're allowed to be a bitch. You're allowed to be nasty to people. You're accomplished. You're a comedian. You did the whole thing. What you're not allowed to do is have a Guantanamo Bay situation in the backstage of your show where everybody's walking around afraid for their life, and it's like Abu Ghraib where they're hooked up to wires and they
Dogs
have like
around them.
Yeah, she's got dogs and hoods. If an intern's late, they have a hood on. I don't support that. That's just me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, I wish her the best.
And if you don't understand this, then you have never felt like you weren't heard or you weren't equal. That if you've ever felt that, magnify it.
Coming out and apologizing after everything she's done. Pizza parties. Crazy things, right? Treated people like crap all around her. Now she's crying out for sympathy. Fled the U.S. What goes around comes around, y'all, and it's coming around on old Ellen.
State Farm executive busted bragging about the pre-orchestrated 22% rate hikes that are coming for the victims of the LA wildfires. The State Farm executive seen here was on a Tinder date where Mr. Executive thought it'd be a great idea to start bragging about how LA fire victims shouldn't be allowed to rebuild. They should have never lived there. And we're going to raise rates on them by 22%. And thank God for whoever this woman is to whip out her phone and start recording.
All right, one of
and he just goes on and on and on. And as you can see at the very top, State Farm's already filed for this rate hike. These people have already gone through everything. And State Farm is about to raise their rates by 22%. Are you kidding me? What world are we living in? Oh, the one where companies are basically running our government.
And nothing's going to happen. No investigation is going to get done. I just saw on the news the other day that they're investigating the egg prices. I don't know if we got that clip. I know I downloaded it. I don't know if it made it to the video, but they're investigating that there was foul play with these egg prices. And what trips me out is, why are they making such a big deal about eggs? They went from $3 to $8. Like, is that going to make or break the bank? What about these interest rates? What about these house payments? What about these car payments? These house prices that went from $150 in January of 2020 to $400,000 by 2021. Why don't they start making a big deal about that? I don't get why they're making a big deal about eggs. That's like the whole toilet paper thing in 2020 when the world went crazy over some toilet paper. When that doesn't matter, y'all. Why are people tripping out about eggs that went from $3 to $8? Like, that's not really going to break the bank. What about these housing prices, y'all? We're going to get into it on the second YouTube channel. Make sure you guys hit that link down below. Segovia's got a haircut, and he's feeling pretty damn good.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this.
It's disgusting.
Somebody come and
I'm
look
so
at this.
hungry right now, too, y'all.
Look at this.
That's gross. What is that, like a chunk of grease? That's disgusting. What is that? Garbage that got Oh, this must be where they throw the garbage.
What do you think is causing all of the issues that people in Gen Z or whatever you would say are having that maybe generations before them didn't have to deal with?
Well, I think one of the main differences between how I grew up, and I'm only 28, it's not like I was in school that long ago. It seems as if there's a lot of activists that become teachers, and they go into these classroom settings with the intention of teaching kids about LGBT, about critical race theory. Whereas, like, I remember all my teachers, it's like they avoided being political at all costs because they knew it would upset parents. And I think that's kind of the way to go.
Yeah, it's weird when people don't have their own together, but they want to teach kids. It's I'm not against people talking about anything in school.
Same.
But I think that the problem is when they're indoctrinating children into an idea and they're saying that this is right and this is the way to do it.
This is how chewing gum starts its life. It's a piece of plastic. Polyethylene, polystyrene, polyvinyl acetate. You can literally build a toy with it.
It's like a giant piece of gum.
2 plants on plastic.
Go to Genesis. It's called Noah's flood. I'm telling you, they're lying about the flood. They're lying about giants. They're lying about the firmament. They're lying about everything to make the Bible look like nonsense. It is so true, and it is so literally accurate, word for word. It would baffle these fools who don't believe.
Do you believe they're lying about the dinosaurs?
I believe dinosaurs are dragons. The dragons are the same thing. And if you are a Christian and you interpret the Bible literally, you better believe in dinosaurs. You better believe in dragons. You know why Leviathan was created? The most powerful beast that ever walked on this earth, besides God, is a dragon, Leviathan. He named it in the book of Job. God talks about it. God says, I played with Leviathan like a small bird. Leviathan was created to humble men. Leviathan is a dragon, a fire-breathing dragon that God created, and he talks about and names in the book of Job. If you are a Christian and you don't believe in dragons, then you don't believe God, and you're calling God a liar.
You see, what they don't want you to know is certain bodies of water near the Caribbean and the Indian Ocean are infested with things that you would have never imagined actually existed. Creatures of what we were told only existed in folklore and fiction, tall tales and fantasy stories. But these stories and these mysteries do not come from nowhere. Everything that we've come to know in this modern world has an origin somewhere. Our ancestors didn't make these things up because they thought it would be funny, or they thought that it would be interesting or add a little spice to a seemingly bleak life. But rather, these are actual lived experiences. And I know this because I can speak for it personally. Now granted, the only time I've encountered a siren or a mermaid has been while I've been asleep, but living up here in the Pacific Northwest, where there's a bunch of woods, a bunch of deep trails where you can take and go into, I have encountered some strange things. Things that verify that there is a lot that I don't know. There is a lot that have been taking place for thousands of years and still taking place to this day. The Book of Enoch would tell you that these sirens and mermaids are spawns of fallen angel genetic mutation, and it lines up with that which is taught in Genesis 6. These things are not benevolent or good, and for thousands of years they lured sailors and young men. They taught women the arts of seduction, of makeup, of jewelry, and all types of spells and witchcraft. They dwelled beneath the waters in a marine kingdom where there is a structure and an order according to the ranks of demonology. If you know, then you know. I know a lot of you guys would think that I'm just up here trying to tell you a cool story, but truly, for those who seek out the knowledge, those who read the text, those who follow the way of Christ and who seek out his knowledge and his information, you come to this eventually. Where there is truth, there is opposition. So for those who profess to be believers in Jesus Christ, you've encountered some very strange things, some very strange spirits who you know to be evil and of the kingdom of Satan. Take this information and pray about it, and understand that a lot of what we do is influenced by the unseen realm. God bless you.
So are we just not going to talk about these American astronauts that have been stuck in space for almost 9 months now? While doing my 20-minute research to do a TikTok video about this, I was unfortunately only able to find 2 names out of the 3 people you see here in this picture. Believe it or not, as crazy as it sounds, these people have been stuck on this US spaceship called the Starliner, and they were initially launched into space almost a year ago, and throughout multiple different malfunctions according to the plan. A few people trapped in the ship are not able to return back to the station. Now, space overall is already a pretty touchy subject, especially on the internet in terms of conspiracy theories. So people have been shouting from the rooftops, through their keyboards, and looking at their screens due to this story. Being that these people seem to keep giving constant updates, how are they able to survive up there in terms of food, and how do they keep getting different things like Christmas gifts and all that? Apparently a lot of people didn't know that there was another guy up there, so this is the other person. As far as I know, he was there the whole time, as far as I could find online. Although I couldn't find a name for him. The 2 names that we're able to find was Barry Wilmore and Sonny Williams. Now, although I can't confirm or deny if space is real or actually exists, or if they are in some Hollywood studio somewhere, it does seem like Elon Musk has a plan to take this SpaceX spacecraft, named the SpaceX Crew Dragon, hopefully be able to launch it out to where they're at and return these people home safely. In other words, it seems like there have been some leaks behind the scenes and NASA's ready to let this whole thing just come back with no people at all. Which I don't really know what all that really means for these people. But I would love to know all your guys' thoughts and opinions regarding this crazy story, as well as if you believe we possibly all just might be being fooled here. So feel free to let me know all that over there in the comments.
You like to watch television, Ray?
Oh, yeah, I know he did watch TV.
What kind of show?
He didn't watch TV all the time.
What kind of shows does Ray watch?
He watched any kind of show you put on.
What's your favorite show, Ray?
He loved cowboys.
You like Cowboys, Ray?
I don't hardly watch TV. Not through the daytime, but I try to watch TV every night, and I can't because I fall asleep too quick.
And your typical day is what? You'll wake up in the morning and do what? Make breakfast?
Yeah, we'll make breakfast.
And then what?
Then I get up, do the laundry, then I get up, clean the house a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And Ray and Timmy, Lorraine, will do what?
One sit there on the porch and Jimmy sit there right. Then he goes in and wash my dishes and stuff.
We have a bit of a mystery on our hands. I have a video that hit the internet about 2 days ago, and it has been viewed by millions of people, and everybody asking the same question. What is this creature? Now we have to ask, is this AI? Is this an AI generated video? You'll have to take a look and really watch it and determine for yourself. Or is this some sort of unidentified species of rodent that we're not aware of? Or, like some are saying, is it a goblin or a troll or some sort of creature from folklore? Take a look at this video, comment below, and tell me what you think.
What do you guys think? It's human-esque. Damn good AI if it is.
The Antichrist is coming in 3.5 years, because the French president signed a peace treaty with Israel for 7 years. So, and in the Bible it says he will cut it half and reveal himself as God, but he's not God, and he's gonna tell everybody to get food from if it's the mark of the beast. So if
the
it's
smoke
the mark
alarms
of
you
the
guys
beast, that
talk
means you're
about.
going to hell. So if you don't take that mark, that means you're saved.
And where'd you learn that from?
The Bible.
And why'd you start reading the Bible?
Because everybody on TikTok say that God is coming, get right with God, because God is coming soon. I'm not trying to go to hell.
God is our Lord and Savior.
Nas, have you read the Bible?
Yep.
One time.
No, I read it 3 times.
How far are you in the Bible?
I'm on Genesis 4.
He's still in Genesis. I'm on John.
Is that far?
Yes, it's pretty far.
I mean, because I just started.
But I started reading Revelations, something like that. And that's where it tells you what color Jesus is, which is black. And he had white hair. Alright, come on.
Wow.
Yes.
Tyra Banks. Apparently, or allegedly, she was supplying to people like Steve Harvey and helping his daughter get hooked up in the right crowds. You know where Tyra is now?
Tyler Perry?
Tyra Banks.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tyra. Tyra Banks.
You know where she is?
No.
In Australia. She just
When did
moved over there. She's
Oh,
starting
I-
an ice cream franchise.
Ty back with the flavor drop of the
We
week.
caught her in a Honda, in a rental, eating a cheeseburger at McDonald's.
I'm gonna have to
Looking
look at
depressed.
The flavor is called Let That Man Go. First of all, you need to let that man go if he's tripping.
She wasn't looking too good.
She looked like her life was over.
Well, maybe it is. She's
All
involved
of
with
that top modeling and All they got you was an ice cream chain in Australia.
Second of all, let that mango. You get it? Mango.
I saw the new prototype of the Ken doll Barbie. Yo, I don't know what's going on, but they gotta stop this. Ken used to look like executive Fortune 500, you know what I'm saying? Brolic, stocky, had the James Bond look with the Ferrari, right? Because dude, you know, if you had a girl cousin, she used to play with the, and you had Ken, and you used to, you know what I mean?
We had a Ken doll?
I didn't have one, but Rashida did.
Okay.
Shout out to Rashida. So yeah,
He
you know,
put himself
I'd
on
make
blast.
Ken look like a gangster. You know what I mean?
Holy shit.
But yo, the new Ken,
Made him look like
they
a
got
gangster.
the fanny pack across the waist, across the midsection. He got the Skims, a sweatsuit on. What are we doing? He got the lesbian haircut. What are you doing? What are you doing? You can't do this. This is not what Ken is supposed to look like.
This is friendzone Ken.
This is nasty work.
this is friend.
Friend facts.
No cheeks getting Ken. That's nasty.
That is in the closet Ken.
Yeah, that's
That's the Ken that says, you know what? I haven't come out to my friend yet.
That's the one.
Hey, go away.
That's the Ken that says yes, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You slayed.
Oh, did you get that? You get those Skims? I got some too. Like that. We're not doing that with our young men. Like sometimes we used to be able to rock with our little girl cousins and sisters. You can't rock with this. You can't put him in a Ferrari. You gotta put him in a Fiat.
Just a
Fiat. Don't tell Mama Bear. She stepped out to go to the grandparents' house. Got the puppies inside. You guys want to say hi to the puppies real quick? Little interruption. Come here, Joy. Come on. There's my Joy. There's my big Boone. Billy Boondocks. Come here. It's my beagle, y'all. Come on. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. Okay, Daddy's got to react. Daddy's got to work. Vámonos. Okay. I let them in. They're not allowed upstairs, but when it's just Dad home, we break the rules, y'all.
matrix. Or did CERN do another experiment? Oh, you better believe they are building up to a huge one. The clock says 7, but my body says 6 and says hell no. Disruption to our circadian rhythms feels very intentional, like a government-sanctioned gaslight convincing us we've either lost or gained an hour. One day it's 6 a.m., the sun is up. Next day it's pitch black. Everyone just can feel that there's something off. The world becomes too bright or too dark, too loud, too wrong. Our circadian rhythms are just thrown into disarray. Time should align with nature, not bureaucratic control. How many more scientific studies do we need to show that this is indeed disruptive and causes harm to our bodies, to our circadian rhythms? A 25% increase in heart attacks, especially during the spring jump like we just had. There's up to a 10% increase in fatal car accidents during daylight savings, and just general disruptions to sleep patterns, which have a huge prolonged consequence on our health. Not just CERN, but all of the Hadron Collider test sites, there's plenty in the United States, have been building up to the grand finale. CERN has been planning to transport antimatter across Europe, something that has never been done before. All of the unnatural finagling with the antimatter and all of the different Hadron Collider sites, with the large Hadron Collider sites and CERN, could this be all just something that is camouflaged with the daylight savings? I don't know. There's something that is deeply unsettling about daylight savings to me. Could the unprecedented antimatter movement be causing ripples in our timeline, making us feel like we slipped into an alternate reality because we have? Is it possible that the CERN's experiments are amplifying the distorting effects of daylight savings time? Yeah, someone...
Serious, y'all. What do you guys think of daylight savings? I'm from Arizona. Never had to deal with it. Clocks never change. But I moved to Texas. So now our clocks go forward, right? Forward an hour. I'm not really a fan of it. I liked it how it was. I don't need this hour to go ahead. I'm not a fan of it. But I hear some people are, right? Some people on the East Coast, they don't like that, whatever. What do you guys think? What is your opinion, people that deal with daylight savings? Are you for it? Are you against it? I'm not really a fan of it. I would love for it to be gone. Maybe this is the last year of it. I don't know, but let me know what you guys think down below.
Definitely getting fired for this if they haven't already.
That
So
does
if you didn't
need
see,
tits.
New Era came out with these new MLB hats, and it has the team's one-letter logo on top of the team's name, right? Well, on the Texas Rangers ones, the T is covering the X in Texas to make it say Tetas instead of Texas, right? And apparently everyone at New Era speaks as little Spanish as I do, none, because no one noticed that this means in Spanish. And a lot of people that live there speak Spanish. Actually, almost 30% of people that live there speak Spanish, to be exact. So they were selling a hat that says on it in the language that 1 in 3 people who live there speak. Naturally, this hat is already no longer for sale, and I think they're going to make sure they have someone bilingual on their team from now on. I'm going to be so honest, like I said, I don't speak Spanish, so this is totally a silly mistake that I would have made, but maybe you want to have someone double, triple, quadruple check your work next time.
Vegetarians have smaller brains. The less a human eats meat, then the smaller the brain becomes. The brain is so dependent on the nutrient density that comes from animal-sourced foods that it will suffer when it doesn't get them. It's a real thing. And why does depression go up so much when people stop eating animal-sourced foods? It's because you are depriving the brain of what it needs.
That's why I'm a big believer. These dogs back here playing. That's why I'm a big believer in keto. If you have mental health, y'all, you're eating a lot of meat, a lot of fat, low carbs, high fat, medium protein. Your brain just starts working like it's on steroids. Take a little shot of MCT oil, lube up that brain, right? That's how I think about it. When I take a shot of MCT, I think that I'm like putting oil on my brain, like so it can function. And look into it, y'all. Anybody mental illness out there, highly suggest ketogenic diet.
So the ice in northwestern Antarctica has melted almost completely due to the global warming, sirs. And this is what has been left once the ice was completely ran off. It looks like people have lived there, and they had once these stone homes. It's baffling scientists quite a bit. The structures are very different than any humanoid structures they've seen in the past from ancient civilizations. Some scientists are already starting to speculate, like, maybe these are ancient aliens. I don't want to go that far. But my scientific brain tells me that, yes, man did at one point live on Antarctica. And Antarctica at one point may have been a green metropolis and not so much ice. I could be wrong there, but that's just my theory. But if you look at this, it looks like it was quite a crowded city. Now it makes me question what else is under Antarctica that we just don't know about. And should we take, some heat things down there to melt some more ice just to see what's there?
Look at Lionel Messi's bodyguard. He like 5'11", about 170. Endurance. You sure he got weapons training on all platforms? Pistol, knife, rifle, shotgun. I'm sure he could do door breaching, room clearing. I'm sure he can do all that. And I'm sure he done went to body language classes. And I know he done got aggressive driving school. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, the bodyguard world get deep.
You saying we're in our last days?
I do believe that.
How long? Is that a year? Is that 100 years? Like, and what should we be doing? If we're in our last days, what should we be doing to prepare?
Bro, but nobody's ever asked me that before. When fall is coming, what happens to the leaves outside when fall is coming? They turn brown, they fall off the tree, and they wither. We know by what we see happening with the creation, we know that the fall is coming. In the same way, we are not ignorant of the end times, because the scripture tells us that there are things that's going to be happening in the end times. And when you see all these things happening, you know that the end is near. Like, for example, the scripture says, in the last days, men will be lovers of money. In the last days, the love of people will grow cold. In the last days, children will be disobedient to parents. In the last days, people will be led astray. In the last days, many fall. So all throughout the New Testament, there are signs of what God told us would happen in the last days. And for those of us who read the Bible, for us, it's like seeing the leaves falling off the tree. So I am not ignorant of the fact that we're living in the last days. I do believe that time is running out, that the Lord is going to return soon, and we don't have all this time we think we have. There are people watching right now think they got all this time to get right with God, and tomorrow is not promised to them.
Miren, mi gente. No sé qué tipo de maldad hagan aquí.
I don't know what he's
Pero
saying,
si ven,
Something to do with
¿Cuántas
fire under the
veladoras hay?
mountain.
Damn. Huh. Algo no cuadra aquí, mi gente. Alguien anda usando este lugar para hacer maldades. Yo pienso que alguien está haciendo brujería aquí, mi gente. Vámonos de aquí porque está peligroso. Está peligroso.
All the people out there right now being like, eggs are so expensive. Eggs are so expensive. You're lying.
Here's the clip.
You're lying. And here's how I know you're lying. Tell me why I just went to Costco and got 65 eggs for $12. Tell me why. I mean, seriously, you guys. Just look around a little bit harder.
Watch that full clip and I got it, but still, why are people... You got my rant. Let's get on to the next clip. What the heck is this thing? That's the thing that was in that tree, y'all.
What the fuck is those? Huh? What the fuck is that?
It kind of looks like it.
I sense there's something that is very significant about the western part of the United States. The desert, the Grand Canyon, the rock formations. You think even like Devil's Tower. I think it's in is that Wyoming?
Wyoming,
There's different rock formations. Like there's different parts like Arizona. It looks like it's been like a nuclear blast, like more than a nuclear blast. Like what did that? How did the rocks start to look like mushrooms?
And when you get up towards like northern Arizona, like on the way to Utah, there's a bunch of like the structures like you're talking about. Like there's barren land, and then it almost looks like ancient towers, like towers or cities that were like
like if you look in, crazy thing about like the Grand Canyon is they have like the Temple of Isis, the Tower of Osiris. They have like another temple to Shiva, I think, in there, and it's like they just said some guy just named it that for reasons. Of course. But it kind of does look like there's an entrance to the temple to Isis. Like, what is that place? And then you find out it's off limits. Okay, so now you start to get suspicious. Like, all right, okay, well it's dangerous. It's like, well, people go missing in national parks every day, all day, throughout the country.
Right.
So they're real worried they'll go missing in the Grand Canyon for some reason.
Well, did you know that North America has more cave entrances into whatever you want to call that, whether you want to call it Hollow Earth, Middle Earth, whatever. North America has more entrances than any other continent.
In the 80s, we had 700 approved ingredients in our food. Now we have 10,000. In Europe, it's still close to 700. Why in America do we have 10,000? One set of ingredients for Americans in the same factory and a different set of ingredients for Canadians, whether it's Fruit Loops or whatever it is. But that's one component of the issue.
Looks fake. It's too fast, right? Where's his hands? He has no hands. That is fake footage, AI. Here's another one. I saw this on Instagram. I thought, wow, that looks fake. What do you think? It's got a little extra hang time at the end. He kind of was falling like too slow. Looked weird, right? Let's look at it frame by frame. I wonder if anything's wrong with his hands. Look at this one. What in the heck is that? What is that? Look at that. Yeah, this is nuts. Sure. Look at his hand. No face. Also, like the other gentleman, no face. Oh, it gets better. It gets better. His board starts breaking here. See that? Now it's not broken. Now it's got a crack in it. Now it doesn't. Okay. No face still. And then he like falls extra slow. Yeah. Another fake AI clip. Skating is all fake and AI. Total bummer. Just finding out.
It's a UFO, yeah.
Oh no, that's a UFO.
They got the lights on.
That's a UFO.
9/11. Wait a second. Flight 11 hit the World Trade Center that looks like an 11 side by side. They both have 110 stories. New York's the 11th state in the union. New York City 11 letters. And I'm like, wait a second, what's going on here? Is this a coincidence? But see, I know history. When did the Great War end? On 11/11 at exactly 11 o'clock. At that point, I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but I see smoke. 8 is the number of money. 8 is the number of karma. 8 is the number of power. The Chinese, they know 8 is the number of money. That's why they started their Olympic Games on August 8th, 2008 at exactly 8:08 p.m. They started their Olympic Games under all 8 energy. Within 2 years, they went from the 5th biggest economy in the world to the 2nd. When you price products in 8s, that's going to attract money. So what you guys need to do is start selling your shirts, start selling all your advertising for stuff that adds up in 8s. That's how you do it. I'm telling you, it works.
Oh, Goodwill find. I don't think I'm taking that home. His eyes do look legit.
This is going to be the freakiest thing you've seen all year if you've not seen it
let's
already.
see if we can do
Just
it on this
keep
screen.
your eyes focused on that X, just like the instructions
This is
say.
real.
And they're going to simply start cycling through a series of famous faces. Keep your eyes focused on that cross in the middle, and something really weird will start to happen. And for me, it starts to happen about here. The faces will start to distort and turn monstrous. They'll have huge, weird eyes or giant mouths, or they'll have that shape of like the alien grays where the heads come down to a point at the bottom with enormous
You guys doing it
foreheads.
with me?
This is called the flash face distortion effect, and some of you already think that it is a trick and have already rewound the video to make sure that we're not
did.
showing you distorted versions of the faces. But if you change your attention over to just the photos, they're totally normal. This was discovered by Tianjin Cognition Labs, and they found that it also works without famous faces. It doesn't depend on the brain trying to match up a face that you know. And again, if you just focus on the X with these totally random people, you will get the same effect. Weirdly enough, somebody else did an experiment where they tried it with the faces upside down, the same thing. So we're actually not totally sure what the brain is doing here. But I personally think about party games like Bloody Mary. If you've never heard of it, it's where people go into a dark bathroom and look into the mirror and try to summon this ghastly face. And I think it's just your brain seeing your own reflection, but not being able to see it all the way, so it makes it weird. Also think about the strange things people see during sleep paralysis. It's like when your brain is trying to process a face, but without all of your faculties devoted to it, you start to get something bizarre.
I sold my soul to the devil. This is the first time I'm wearing a long dress, so soak it in, America. Get used to this shit. On behalf of Amy, I'd like to thank the devil and all the dark lords who gave her this award, allowed her to feast on the flesh of the innocent.
This man right here named Stephen Greer put out some information that almost got him unalived. And 4 people out of 762 that are whistleblowers like him were found unalived. So Khloe Kardashian was interviewing Stephen Greer, and she asked him about ETs. And one of the questions was, how many ETs do we have on this planet? This man said we at least got 69 different species of ETs on this planet. But y'all, he said we shouldn't be afraid of them. They're here because they're afraid of what we're gonna do. Y'all, take a look at this short clip.
Ready? I don't even know how to get into this, but I'm just like... It was about 8 or 9. I saw
He's one of the 69, right?
close range, broad daylight, and I knew what I'd seen. It was extraordinary. Do you know how many species there are of ETs? The best we can tell, there's at least 69 specific species. They seem to all be working together, but they're very concerned about our hostility. This planet's in real trouble. I have 762 whistleblowers. There have been 4 people working with me who've been killed. Oh my God. And I was almost killed 16 months ago.
This is all alleged. This is what he's saying. But we know it's some tricky business going on around here. The whole interview get deep. So if y'all want to go check it out, just search his name up.
People have been noticing very strange lights in the sky. What was that thing over there? Present with storms happening all the time, every day, going back months. Even with the cyclone that Australia just had, I'll show you a really weird light that was in the sky. Now, one thing I want to preface this video by saying is, no, it's not Transformers. Half of these lights are in the middle of nowhere where there's no wiring. And it turned red, even. I mean, what is that? So the last video was Austria, and this right here is Australia, and it was filmed in a direction where there were no power lines or any of that kind of stuff. And it's just so weird because a while ago in New York, the sky was doing this, and they said, oh, it's a nuclear reactor or something of that nature. But was it really? Because the lights are all over the world. Right here is a different place and at a different time, and you're going to see the same exact color light. Where are these lights coming from? Why are they with storms all the times? And how are they by themselves even? I think it's suspect that the bar lightning phenomenon will generally be the same color as these things that we're seeing away from power lines. It reminds me of how they just now updated their classification, their database on clouds, because they've been seeing a lot of really strange clouds lately. These lights always pop up with weird things flying around them. Watch the video and then you'll see.
Let's just say Russia has some of the craziest stories. Yeah. There's this lake there called Lake Baikal, the deepest freshwater lake on Earth.
Dude, what is down there?
You're about to find out.
No.
So these Soviet divers in 1982, they were 164 feet down. All of a sudden, out of the depths, there were these 6 humanoid creatures wearing these tight, metallic-looking suits, 9 feet tall, and wearing these weird jelly helmets.
Scariest possible thing you could see at that moment.
And so they tried to catch one of them, did something to where it caused this force field and shot all these divers up to the surface. They all got the bends. 3 of them ended up dying.
Oh my
and then
gosh.
the rest were basically silenced from ever speaking about what happened. There's reports even today from the same lake. It's so big that they're actually able to test submarines. And this one submarine on their sonar picked up these 6 objects that were coming towards them at like 400 miles an hour. They turned and it matched the path of the submarine. And so the submarine breached and these things just popped up out of the water and just shot off in the distance.
Yeah, dude.
In the United States, we see UFOs primarily where aquifers are. They're saying that there is, in fact, an underground tunnel connection with aquifers and different lakes and stuff to where these UFOs can travel and come out.
Pyramids are really built on aquifers, too.
Yes, they are.
In the war, y'all. Check them out. All right, family. There you have today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, if you made it this far, y'all, hit that thumbs up, y'all. It's so frustrating that I appreciate everyone that watches the videos. Don't get me wrong, all the 70% of the subscribers, but you hear a lot of YouTubers say, you know, 80% of the people that watch my channel aren't subscribed. Hit that subscribe. Like, no, that's what you want. Trust me, because that means you're getting new audience members, right? So hit that thumbs up. Let's get back out there, y'all. You got to see the puppies today. Mama Bear's gone. I said, you know, dogs are coming upstairs with me. I get to relax, y'all. I got the house to myself. I'm gonna make some lunch right now. A little steak. Got some leftover fajita meat. A little avocado with that. Jalapeno on the grill. That's lunch, y'all. I'm out of here, y'all. This is Segovia, Joy, and Boone signing out of the man cave. We'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all have a good day. Later.